to handle all at once. So everything before you, I know it's all over the place, but my recommendation is to strike, and that's for various reasons. The first one is street lighting policy. The Dayton Electric District is involved in that, and just so everyone's clear, if I'm recommending to strike, it doesn't mean I disagree with it necessarily, it just means it's not relevant for this particular manual that we're crafting. So that's, in the case of that, that's what I mean. Same thing with the municipal storm drain connection policy. That is actually with the Stormwater Committee right now, but I think where this, and Selectman Goulart, let me know if you disagree, but I thought that that could go with the Board of Health or be its own standalone, because you do work with the Board of Health on stormwater.
What we voted to do was not to make it a policy, but to make it a regulation, because the regulation carries more weight and you can
Yeah.
enforce it.
Yep.
So it's going to be part of stormwater regulations, and the, I'll call it the subcommittee is
Sure.
working on the wording. You're part of that study.
So if we strike it from
Strike
here,
it
you're
here,
okay.
because we're gonna have something,
Yeah,
yeah.
but that hasn't happened yet, right? If we strike it from this here, we don't have a
It's not,
regulation.
But from here.
But we're not enforcing
it's
it.
And it's not appropriate
No.
how it's written in here.
No.
We've made numerous changes to it that reflect what we want. We've updated it since. I think you have something to say.
Mr. Chairman?
Sure, yes, I'm sorry, Mr.
Chico,
Commissioner.
just to rest your mind at ease, there is some language in other regulations and codes that do give us some teeth to go after illicit discharges. What the Stormwater Committee is working on is something that's concrete, easier, gives an appeal path, the whole 9 yards. So it's not like we can't do anything right now, it's just that what we're working on is gonna streamline it in a much bigger way.
Okay, just the way it was explained was that we're striking it because it's going to be a new regulation.
Right, that's why I clarified.
Yes, I appreciate that.
The next is sponsor an island policy. Both Tom Ferry and I agree this is not a good idea for the town. The adopt a field policy, kind of the same thing. It's the town's park or field, and we maintain it anyway, and I don't feel comfortable with the idea of allowing outside people, kind of this ownership type thing over it. So I would like to strike that and give it to the Parks and Rec Commission if they feel that it's a wise idea. The field and use and scheduling policy, at the last meeting, we had a public buildings and public property use thing. I'd like to just strike it from here and incorporate that to what we're already doing. We're already recrafting that one.
Yep.
I'd like to strike the HIPAA policy, HIPAA privacy notice. Not that I think it's not worthwhile, it's just, we already have to do that anyway, like, we're bound by that regardless.
But in the policy, it says that we give notification to the employees. Are we still going to do that if we strike this?
You
What
mean
the
when
HIPAA?
we, go ahead.
Yes, no, it says that we give a copy of the policy to the employees. If we strike this, are we not going to be giving them to the employees, or how do
There
we
would be
enforce
no
that?
So my
policy to
question
give them.
is, so this
No,
policy
well,
wouldn't,
It explains to them what the HIPAA is and
right.
how it impacts their employment.
So my first reaction when I read that was, I bet we're not doing that right now. And what's worse than having no policy is having a policy you don't follow. And where we're not doing that, we're in safer ground removing it.
Not
And then
having a
if we have
policy.
to do it, we can implement it.
But we should do it, right?
But I don't think so, actually. But if you would like that policy, we can do that.
I think employees ought to be notified.
Okay, I don't know what you want me to do. Do you
No,
want me to
it's tough
continue,
for
or-
me because I'm in the field, like
Yes.
I work in insurance. I don't know
actually,
how
my-
to approach
I-
this,
my-
honestly.
Exactly, and obviously
tough.
time
It's
is not
difficult.
on our side, but there are some other things that have come up that, outside of HIPAA, I think people are not sure of the rules on accessing their information as it pertains to, and what I mean by that is employees, their information that we have. So I think there's room for some education, and it's worth something to look at. So I'll continue, and then we'll revisit that one.
If you don't mind, I do think, to Selectman Pacheco's concern, I do think notifying someone of like what HIPAA, like, because before I worked in the industry, I literally didn't know what it was. Now I do, and it is important. Maybe that notification or education about HIPAA could be part of some future plan. but I have no concrete, we would have to discuss that more.
Right.
I'm going to continue.
Absolutely.
601 is relative to the library. We don't have control over the library, so it's not fitting to be in here. The procurement, the next section, other than 704, which, well, it's related, but I'm dealing with that separately, is all procurement. I would like to do a comprehensive procurement policy, but these ones I don't like, and I'm recommending to strike, because not only are they outdated, because the laws changed recently, we're covered by the laws, and what the information they have in here is helpful for someone like myself, or maybe the building inspector that has to like kind of quickly look, but I have those made for me and updated regularly by the the Inspector General's office. So it's a little bit of double duty, and I don't think we should have it in here because it's just extra work.
Yes, sir. Mr.
I'll be honest
Commissioner.
with you, I mean, I appreciate the fact that you would include that and make it available, but if I'm gonna do something with procurement, I'm going to the state reg, because that's the latest and greatest. It doesn't really matter in that sense.
I totally agree, and I almost think it's better if we're going to have some sort of language here under procurement overview, it literally just be a reference to whatever the state regulations or
And it
laws
would
are.
include our previous vote of anything over $5,000. You need the 3 separate quotes and that form with the town accountant, so.
May I make a general statement? Something just came to mind. I think we should be mindful as we continue through the review of the policy manual that if we do a policy and we err from whatever the language in the state reg or the state, MGL, Massachusetts general law is, that we now have the responsibility that every time a law changes, and guess what? We pay people to be legislators in Beacon Hill, and their job is literally to change language in laws, that we're now bound every single time we will be back here at a meeting, changing the language to conform with whatever the change in the regulation or the law is. So I do think we should be cognizant of that as we proceed. So I like this idea to cite whatever the statute or
And I'm not even,
regulation
like,
is.
I want us to have this I want to include formally that $5,000 threshold that we've previously voted on and some other items that
But
really
that's
are just
Dayton-
helpful
and that's
for me.
Dayton
and
specific, exactly,
So
yeah.
that's what I mean. But yes, my recommendation is strike all of these.
Mm-hmm.
And just my last one is awarding and administering contracts. I don't like the language in this. If you'd like to develop a special policy, I have no problem there. I would change it. So I'd like to strike that as well. And I think Selectman Goulart had something to say.
Oh, yeah, you're next. Selectman Goulart. So any of these
No, I don't have-
changes,
no,
questions on all of them?
No, I'm ready to make a motion.
Selectman Pacheco?
I do have a comment then, going back to the first one, 403. So if the Dayton Electric District controls that, Highway Department has no input in the way of placement of poles and all
No.
that?
So a lot of that's through planning and on the site plan.
So the zoning board and planning board would have control over what permits that they have oversight on. And then when and if it was ever turned over, then the electric commission would then take over responsibility.
So-
That's how it works currently.
So this wasn't an accurate policy to begin with?
I haven't read it. so-
Yeah, no, so,
What-
I do not believe so.
okay.
I
It wasn't
think,
a Dayton policy.
Yeah,
It was
so-
not a Dayton
I
policy
feel
because
like
we have a
I've
district.
tried to explain this, and it never makes sense even when I hear myself saying the words. Picture in your mind, Selectman Pacheco, a policy book for a town whose name we can't pronounce in Massachusetts, and then someone erased the name of that town and put Dayton. That is what happened with
Is that
this
what happened?
policy manual.
That's exactly.
So
right.
you're gonna read a lot of stuff that, and I wasn't even here, I don't know what happened, so I wasn't being
Yeah,
insulting
no,
to anyone.
I want to thank the town administrator for going through it and coming up with these changes, the necessary changes, and giving us the information on it.
You're welcome.
So,
I got to page 2 when I put it down.
The
What town is
accountant-
this for?
it's over 200 pages.
And it's literally
One of
most
the
of
first
it's
things I
useless.
read. It was like bylaws, zoning bylaws, this.
So I am entertaining motions pursuant to the policy manual review tonight.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we strike the following policies as recommended: 403, 408, 409, 410, 411, 501, 502, 601, 701, 702, 703, and 704.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'm not going to second it because 501 and 502 is included in it. I thought we were going to hold off on 501 and 502.
Oh, I thought we were gonna write strike these and write something
Yeah.
I
appropriate.
think.
And then we were
write
gonna
something and-
discuss
And
it.
then strike. My feelings, it should be written first and then strike.
Okay, let me amend the motion then.
No, I was gonna step down in second.
Well, what I was going to amend was that 501 and 501, 502 would be rewritten to meet the requirements of Dayton. So that means they're coming up again.
Yep, and we're committed to having that
Okay,
discussion.
so, Mrs. Brady, when I listed all of those, after 411, leave out 501, 502, and pick up 601 through 704. And so I move to strike those. Regarding policies 501 and 502, these will be rewritten to meet the requirements of the town and presented to the board at a future meeting.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second discussion. And just for the record, I do agree that we need to rework or retool and have another discussion about 501 and 502 in some other form in the future. Any further discussion? And again, I just wanted to thank you for getting through that for us. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, and that motion passes. Next on the agenda this evening is the third reading of the tuition reimbursement policy and vote to adopt. We read it in its entirety the first time. And I am prepared to accept motions to vote on this policy as presented this evening.
We're at 7A?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I got two things I've scribbled up here. I'm trying to figure out what I wrote. Where I am. Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the tuition reimbursement and eligibility guidelines as read.
I will
For the
step down.
third time.
I will step down and second this motion. Discuss.
We've discussed it in the past, so I don't want to belabor this, but I think there should be some reimbursement to the town if there's, someone leaves at a certain period of time. We had some proposals a couple weeks ago. We didn't adopt any of them, so I'm concerned about that, so.
I'm prepared to support this tonight, but if that comes back up and we want to have that discussion again to modify this, I'm also okay with that. I have no issue with that. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I oppose.
Abstentions? The ayes have it, and that motion passes. And next on the agenda is a discussion of iPads and electronic packets. I requested this to be on the agenda. I feel like this is not going to be like a 2-minute discussion. I asked for this to be on the agenda because I did have a sort of change of heart. Now, anyone that knows me knows I love my paper. I love real, actual books, like paper books. But I have seen, and just like I've noticed, the volume of material. This is one meeting, folks, that we get. And I think that it would be wiser if we all had an iPad, like an iPad mini, which you can put notes on. And then that's how we receive. Karen sends us the email with the packet the night before, as she always does. And then we have the information on our iPad, so Karen doesn't have to go running around printing, 3 of these, 4 of these, because the town administrator needs one, for us every week. I mean, these are trees. It's also money. We have the Sursage contract, so we're saving a little bit of money for it, but it's still expensive. So I think it would be a big improvement both to the streamlining and efficiency of Karen's ability to get the information to us timely by sending an email rather than, printing a million of these things out and then putting them all together, and it's just a lot of work, and it's costly, so. My idea was to have iPads, which, yes, upfront cost, but that's it, after the upfront cost. So, thoughts? Selectman Goulart.
I prefer the paper ones, because I have to refer back to these periodically. But one of the problems I got tonight is, I picked up a package yesterday, I went home and I worked on it. I came in tonight, I got another package. I gotta go through all of this tonight, which is a duplication, throw away the junk that doesn't apply tonight and put the stuff in that applies tonight. It doesn't matter if it's coming through in paper or iPad. If it's gonna change before the meeting, I'm still up the creek.
But you have it in one place rather than a bunch of papers that you're shuffling around.
Well, I had it in one place when I picked it up, and I went home and I worked on it, and I got it all prepared. That's why tonight I'm going through all these piles, because I have new information, and things changed.
But the new information came from the packet that Karen emailed yesterday.
No, it
So
came from the
if you-
package she handed me when I came in.
Which was what she emailed yesterday. Is
Right.
that
The
correct?
one change, or the two change, was the updated health agent job description and the town accountant job description.
Which weren't in the packet, so she handed it to us. And then I went in, and I also had my stuff from last week, and then I just added it to the stuff from last week so that I wasn't perplexed. Selectman
Well, I
Pacheco.
do agree with Mrs. Goulart as far as the change. I think if you're going to,
Oh my God, that was not for this, I apologize.
Wow.
I think if we're
aggressive.
going to get this information on the Tuesday before the meeting, that anything additional that's added to it, we don't address at that meeting. I don't think it's fair to us
Yeah,
that we just
I'm
get
o-
this additional
I'm
information.
okay with that.
I like to go through the stuff the day before,
I do the same.
and I don't like changes like Mrs.
Yep,
Goulart
I don't
suggested.
either.
I am in favor, I'm interested in the cost, obviously, but I am in favor of eliminating, I'm amazed, only been here 6 months, but I'm amazed as to how much paper.
Are you amazed that there's even trees in this
We
town?
this didn't happen before. We didn't get this kind of paperwork.
Well, I think quite honestly, I think
No,
we're
we
doing.
did when Selectman Cronin was here. We had more. We passed policies while he was here to cut it down because it was too much. On the reviewing every paper, does everyone remember how every paper used to come to our desk? Every paper that the town received came through the Selectmen.
But we
It was
didn't get
paper
copies of
galore.
it. What happened was, if this came in, it got stamped. Each one of us, as we read it, would put our initials. Karen would have it in the folder over there, and as it came up at the meeting, we had already all seen it. It was only one piece of paper that was presented. But now we're getting copies of everything. That's why there's so much stuff. My concern is that I do go back and I have to use them for reference. To have it on an iPad,
Are you unable to view it for referencing? I'm confused.
I will just make this comment. So we did have this in West Bridgewater, and one of the members did not want to use their iPad, and we made a paper packet for that member, and the others operated off an
Oh, I don't have a
iPad. So
problem.
it's not an all or nothing.
it's not so much an iPad. I've got a Surface at home, but I only use it
Oh,
when I'm
I know,
traveling.
but I can understand.
But
So
I use it for traveling.
when I prepare for
Nice. It
this,
has the little stand in the keyboard.
when I prepare for the meetings, I print everything out. I double-sided, much to my chagrin tonight, because life is a little crazy here tonight. But I write notes. I keep every agenda in a special file so I can refer back to it. I do the same thing. But I save the packets electronically so I can easily recall.
May I make a comment on files? You can have the files, you can have folders on the iPad where you put like, I don't know, December meetings, 2018, and then that's where you put those two packets from
They're
December.
also saved on our website as well,
Of course,
because we
yeah,
post
we
them.
should
But
say that.
we can, if you don't want an iPad, like, it's not something that derails the whole initiative. Like, we can accommodate whatever you want to happen. I appreciate the note thing, because I do that. But, I mean, I tried to cut down on paper, and I
The
double-sided
other thing
it.
too is, tonight, I asked to hold some things, and you said, would you give those to Mrs. Aronson? And I said, yeah, I just got a photo of them. If they're sitting on my iPad, I gotta print them out, because I gotta mark them up and show you whatever it was. But anyhow, I don't object, if you guys wanna use them, that's fine. The system doesn't work for me. Right now, there's 2 laptops and a Surface sitting in my, I call it the computer room, okay? And the surface, I've pretty much said, when I travel, I'm not dealing with you on a daily basis. But that's my only concern, because I do go back and reference stuff.
Well, what I will say, and I feel like we've come at like an agreement. I get it. It's gonna, for anyone watching, it is going to be hard for me to have an iPad here and like be functional, but I'm going to do it, and it's going to be a change.
I think what we should also do, just so you're
Yeah.
ready, is everybody gets a paper agenda, because I see all of you write on your agendas.
I do. I write on my
We need them
agenda
for the
for
public
public
anyhow.
records,
We
exactly,
didn't have
so
them
that
tonight.
my notes are in a binder over here, and anybody who wants to come in and see my scribbles can do that. That's fine.
So, using the iPad, are we able to print from the iPad if we wanted to print something up?
You
Yeah,
hook
if
it
it's
up, yes.
connected to the
You
And
just
printer.
gotta hook it
it'll
up.
probably will also be sent to the laptop, same information then, so if I wanted to print something
Yeah,
up?
it would
Okay.
be
So,
an
like
email. You
yeah,
would
okay.
have the email hooked up to your iPad, just
So
like it's hooked up on
Occasionally, I
your.
may want to print something up
That's,
for the.
you don't have to
meeting,
ask for
but,
permission.
I
I
do
just think
we
it's a
ought to take-
conscientious choice that.
I think
you
it
know,
is, and no disrespect, Mrs. Goulart. I think
None at all.
If she
I like my
prefers
paper.
one method, I'm okay with that too. I mean, it's easy for you, but
It's not
I'm
gonna
gonna
be easy for me.
use the iPad, we'll see how it goes.
We
but-
can make fun of them.
One of the things that we've talked about, and this is not a criticism, but when I was the clerk for the Finance Committee, I actually took the notes because I could participate. One of the problems that they have is the person now that's the clerk is using the iPad, and he's concentrating all his time there. And we've sat in meetings when the poor man doesn't really have a chance to discuss
That poor
an
man was me.
agenda item. No, I'm talking on the FinCom. And I thought to myself, it's all in what you're used to, you know? I can write minutes, I can take notes, and I can write the minutes so that they flow. If you're not used to doing that and you're trying to get it all in there, but that's a difficult thing on the Finance Committee, because you're trying to participate, but you're trying to get it all, you know?
And it's gonna be difficult because we jump from item to item like we did tonight, probably
yeah.
15 times.
Yeah.
I put this all in the order of the agenda,
Yeah.
and then we start changing things around, so I gotta learn how to do that in iPad. quite
One of the
frankly.
things that I wondered about is the school committee meets every 2 weeks on a Tuesday. They get their stuff in hand on the Thursday before, and they get packages of stuff. Is there any way that we can get ours earlier?
We can. We
I
have to
have
change
to
the
say,
policy.
it is yeoman's work to get this compiled by Karen. Getting it earlier than what we're doing now, it's why you have some incorrect or outdated information, because I was out on Monday this week. I take Tuesday we go over and I say, Karen, what am I missing for the packet? I give her everything
We
for
literally
it.
have 5
And,
minutes.
all right, I'll be very quick.
We gotta do
And we put it
warrants.
together and we send it.
Correct, which means we have to move on.
It is a lot of effort to put these together.
Correct.
And we are doing our best to get it to you in an appropriate amount of time. I think we would have, and this is fine, maybe you'll
I
like
feel
it,
like
we'll
we're
have
getting off
shorter
topic.
meetings.
I just want
But
to,
we can lessen
about
the
the
amount of
iPads,
the items
please.
on the meeting. Hi.
okay, can we, I am entertaining motions pursuant to what is listed here under this agenda item, not changing when we send the emails out.
I'll make a motion that we utilize, after finding out what the cost is, the cost of iPads and
They're
electronic.
$250 if you order an iPad mini. They are $500 if you order a regular iPad.
I want to make it,
I would not recommend a mini. I bought minis for my guys, and I get a lot of complaints. It's just too small, the screen gets too busy, so just my opinion.
Mhm.
Okay?
Why are they so expensive? You can buy a laptop for less than
We
that.
literally, the alarm is going to go off, so we need a motion or not, and we're going to move on to
continue that item
warrants.
to next week.
Okay.
One of the warrants. I'll make a
Approval
motion, we
of the
continue
warrants.
on the new business.
Second.
Business 8C to next week, December 19th.
Can I do them?
Yep. Please do.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the following warrants be approved. Warrant 23A-19 in the amount of $90,924.78 payroll. Warrant 23B-19 in the amount of $66,499.10. Accounts payable, both dated December 5th.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, and that motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve warrant number 24A-19 in the amount of $98,874.59 payroll. Warrant 24B-19 in the amount of $472,840.86. Accounts payable, both dated December the 12th.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second, discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, that motion passes. Motion to adjourn.
So
I'm
moved.
accepting a motion.
So moved.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Oh, just one comment. Whatever we didn't cover tonight will be moved to next week.
I literally just did that.
Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, that motion passes.
I just wanted